I said to my mum, I want to practice yoga. Can you find out how I can do yoga? When you talk of 1975 in England, probably anywhere, maybe, there's no such thing as children's yoga classes like there are today.
Welcome again to the Iyengar Yoga Podcast. We are absolutely honored to have Jayne Orton here with us today. Hello, Jayne. Welcome.
Hi, good morning.
So, it has been a very important year for you, Jayne, because you personally have an anniversary. So it's 50 years practicing and teaching Iyengar Yoga. So congratulations to that, first of all. Have you done a special celebration for it?
Yeah, well, just to say, I started practicing in 1975, so that's 50 years, but I've been teaching since 1980, so 45 years teaching. I've done a few nice things here and there, and we had a bit of a celebration in Birmingham a few weeks ago, more kind of locally, just to, I don't know, seem like a really special time. So, we celebrated it in Birmingham with a workshop and then a talk after about my 50 years experience of Iyengar Yoga. And then we had some, the usual Indian snacks. So that was very nice. Mm-hmm.
Oh, lovely, lovely. So, when we met, let's go back to the beginnings. Probably have been asked this a lot during this year, but here we go again. So why did you start it, or how did you came to Iyengar Yoga?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, apologies to anybody listening to this that's heard this before. I have said it quite a lot of times, but maybe people watching don't know. Well, I when I was a child, I used to write a lot of poetry, and I had some poems published actually, and I won prizes. It was my real love in English literature, language, and poetry, and I got very interested in world poets. And one day I went to the library. So this all happened by accident with yoga in a way. I went to the local library when I was 9 years old, and they had an exhibition all about poetry, and they had the world's longest poem, which is, do we know what that is?
The Bhagavad Gita?
Correct. Yes, I took this book out of the library at age 9. I took this book out of the library, took it home, reading, and then of course as you're reading, it's beautiful language there. As you're reading, it also tells the story, obviously, of Krishna and Arjuna, and it talks about yoga. So I just kind of, I don't know, it touched me, and at the age of 9 years old, I said to my mum, I want to practice yoga. Can you find out how I can do yoga? When you talk of 1975 in England, probably anywhere, maybe, there's no such thing as children's yoga classes like there are today. So my mum did some local inquiries, and she said, you've got to wait till you're 15 to start yoga. And those classes, because those classes in England were what we call adult education classes. So you had to wait till you were 15, and even then you had to have a letter from your headmaster, schoolmaster, to say whatever you were doing as an adult education subject would not interfere with your studies at school. So September the 15th, 1975, I was enrolled into a yoga class at the school that I used to go to. It was my school in the day. In the evening, it ran classes. So I walked into that class, having waited 6 years, having read some Indian philosophy, more than the Gita. Because now I've got the interest, I really got the bug. Not knowing anything about, what Iyengar Yoga was. So I went to this yoga class, and yes, it was an Iyengar Yoga teacher. And that was it. And I don't know what it was, but I just did the first class. And I remember lying in Savasana at the end, and I told myself, I'm going to do this the whole of my life. That was it. It sounds a bit.
Oh my God,
rum-
Jane, it's unbelievable. It's like
But that was it.
it's like the the introduction of a movie, like like a
I just knew. I mean, I was saying to some people in the week in Birmingham, the shock was the asana work because, of course, I'd been reading the Gita and I'd got this kind of romantic idea of perhaps where yoga would take me. I was,
Mhm,
into that more in a way as a
mhm.
teenager and with the poetry and my imagination. But then somehow, wow, I reckon we still remember my first Adho Mukha Svanasana as a
Ooh,
teenager. I had my hamstrings. I was thinking, oh my God, this is so hard. I had no idea at all
yeah,
about, I mean, obviously, I've read a little bit about the sutras then, a little bit about asana is mentioned, but not really
yeah, very
taking it to
little.
the
Yeah,
max. So that was the big shock.
there
Yes.
is asana. Oh my God.
That's how I started. It came through my love of poetry
Yeah.
and an accident of, well, taking this book.
I mean, what I find astonishing is like, so what did you do in the 6 years? Because as a young child or adolescent, so many things, come to you and are interesting, but somehow you stick like to your waiting list, right? What did
Well,
you do?
gosh,
How did you survive the 6 years? I mean, as a child, you cannot even wait 3 months to Christmas, sometimes.
well, I think I was quite a solitary child. I was always got my head in books. One of my friends were out playing and running and jumping and swimming and doing everything. I was at the corner reading poetry,
Ah, okay.
or Jane Austen books, or in this case, then looking at the Indian philosophy.
Hmm.
Also, at the same time, I should mention, people of my generation will know, on the television, starting in 1969. I was 9 years old. Was a TV program from the States called Yoga for Health with a man called Richard Hittelman, and he wrote a lot of the first yoga books that were very big in the West. It wasn't Iyengar Yoga, but he was this man doing yoga, and he had these two women at the side. And one of them, intriguingly as well, was from a place called Moseley in Birmingham, which
Oh
is very close
no.
to the
Yeah.
Institute. So
Yeah.
this American guy with these two ladies, one of them was English from Birmingham. And so I was watching that. I used to watch it in the school holidays.
Hmm.
So I'd got some kind of visual feeling then of
Hmm.
people sitting in Padmasana, maybe a headstand. It wasn't Iyengar yoga, but it was TV yoga of the 1960s,
Wow.
which
And it was
yoga,
asana yoga, let's say. Yeah, there were
yeah,
already asanas. Hmm.
asanas and some pranayama, and
Oh. Hmm.
yoga it got very big very quickly. You probably know in Europe and in the States
Yes.
because of the Beatles having gone to India
India,
in
yeah.
1968
Hmm.
to study in Rishikesh, and that kind of just started the whole wave
Hmm.
of interest in yoga, and that's why that TV program. I think it just hit that
Hmm.
wave of everybody wanting to a guru, everybody looking for enlightenment. So yeah, and that ran for maybe that program ran for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay.
yeah. So
So,
I had that.
yeah. And when did you then meet Mr. Iyengar for the first time?
Well, yes, I was going to this class, this a Monday night yoga class
Ah,
at the
who was your
school.
first teacher? Sorry, who was the first teacher in
Yes,
Birmingham?
okay, yes. My first teacher was an advanced Iyengar yoga teacher called Kofi Busia. Some of you will know him. He's in the States now. He lives in Santa Cruz, and he was at the time he was coming from Oxford to Birmingham to teach us. He's a professor of Indian philosophy also at Oxford University and a direct student of Guruji Iyengar. So I'd got all these stories of Iyengar, but you don't really make the connection. You do, but you don't. You hear that that's the name of the person.
Mhm.
And then 3 years into it, 1978, I believe it was, around that time, it was in the October, our teacher said to us that the B K S Iyengar, the author of the book, Light on Yoga, I had the book,
Yeah.
um, the author of the book is coming to Oxford to teach a masterclass.
Wow.
And And it was it was going to be a Monday afternoon, and I was already working in an office. I was working in an office to get money to make so I could get to India somehow, right?
Some,
I
yeah.
really never, although I knew Iyengar was the author of this book, and he was Kofi's teacher. Of course, you don't have any idea really. And I
Yeah.
remember going in a car where there was three more of us. There was four of us who were interested in Iyengar Yoga. Went from Birmingham to Oxford, which is about 1 hour,
Mhm.
in a car, and we went to a school hall, a small school hall in a village called Kidlington, a small country village, and there was this class with this yoga
Oh, yeah,
master.
yeah, yeah.
There was about 200 people watching,
Yeah.
and about 50 of us on the floor in the class.
Ah, okay. They were like audience. Ah, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because
There
there
were
was
people
lots of
not
people
doing
who,
it, just watching. Ah, okay. Hmm.
yeah, there were people who were not. You had to be an Iyengar yoga student, I think,
Ah,
to
yeah.
be in that class.
Okay.
But there was lots of people, I think, came from other systems of yoga, like the
Mm-hmm.
British School of Yoga. They were interested, and I remember we were on this floor, and they were up on the seats there watching this masterclass. Well, I was just blown away,
Yeah.
completely blown away. I remember the first Tadasana. I just was perspiring the whole of the body, and it was supposed to be 3 hours. It went on for I think 5 hours, and I always say I walked into that class one person and I came out another. So you have, like, in your life, I think you have um, key moments, light bulb moments, as I call them. One
Yeah.
of them was that Shavasana. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it forever. The next, like, big, huge turning point was, of course, that class with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just remember going, oh, I don't know what I've been or where I've been here, but my
But now
life's
you
never going to
know.
be the
Yeah.
same. And that's it.
Wow, that's really an experience. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was quite young then, also, right? How old was he?
Mm,
Younger?
well, yes. 1978, it was his 60th birthday.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so I've actually got an original T-shirt somewhere, which I
Oh
think
my
is from
God, worth a
1980.
lot.
It's my very, very first yoga T-shirt. I never had
Yeah.
a yoga T-shirt. And it was the image from Rimye, I think,
Oh
and it's the
yeah.
60th
Mhm.
birthday
Yeah.
T-shirt. That was 1978. And yes, so he
Mhm.
was 60 that year. Mm.
Yeah.
And I think he used to come to England every year, once a year. Um, London, I think he started going to Manchester as well. So yes, I ended up in this masterclass. That was
Yeah.
the first time I ever met him.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm.
Wow. And then how long did it take you actually to go to Pune yourself? Because I think
Four
practicing
years.
there, every one of us who has done it, it's again, it's a place for, let's say, key moments to happen when you are there, for example, for the first time, right?
Mm. Yeah, well, so I then had to work, work in an office, earn money,
Yeah.
save up, carry on, go to Pune. Then I thought, I want to go to Pune now. Now I know I'm going where I'm going. So 1982, December 1982, I went for 2 months. That's my first visit. December 82, January 1983. That was my first visit to Pune. And that was obviously another huge moment. Hmm.
Wow. So what do you remember from it? What was the thing that struck you most there? I don't know, maybe
Well,
something that hasn't to do anything with the institute. I don't know. Have you been to India before? No, that was the first India time too, right?
mm, mm. Well, when I was thinking about this, actually, for our talk, I was thinking actually that the really strange thing was I think I hadn't been anywhere really outside of England much. I think I'd been to Spain once with my parents once. I think I was about 11. Then I'd never been out the country. Then I get on a flight at Heathrow and I end up in Mumbai on my own. So what was very
Wow.
interesting was the culture shock of going to India. I just remember the first couple of days when I got there, the culture shock was huge. Oh, But what was interesting was as I went to the institute, it's like everything I was shocked by with India, and I was shocked, and where I was staying, it was like I was staying in a convent. It was fantastic. It was amazing. I was with the nuns. But in a way, once I had the classes at the institute, it all became about yoga, and it's like the rest faded away.
Okay.
So it's kind of all that I was there, but in a way, the yoga was, it kind of, that was a bigger shock.
Right?
That was a bigger shock on me than India. India's a shock. And now there's this. So now there's this teacher, and Gita and Prashant as well teaching. It kind of overtook anything I'd felt the first 2 or 3 days. And that was it.
Nice. Yeah, great. And I mean, you said something interesting. The other, like when we talked last when we were in Birmingham, because obviously now things have changed a lot, how the yoga is also perceived in the West. But interesting, now you mentioned that this TV, the US TV program, that it was yoga for health. Already there was this aspect, yoga is good for your health. Because I think I remember when you started teaching, or when you came from a general interest, it was maybe a spiritual interest, or you came from the poem side. So the students in the 70s were also a little bit younger, and they didn't came specifically, I have a bad neck, or I sit too much in the office, I want to do yoga. No, they came for a general interest. And nowadays it has changed completely. Everyone knows it's good for your back, for your neck, for everything. So also the younger teachers are confronted much earlier with this kind of expectations.
Yes.
And I was wondering how you deal with it, because you have been a mentor and an accessor for decades also. How do you deal with it now, in the sense, how do you prepare your mentees nowadays, or even teaching your classes nowadays with this different expectations of yoga?
Yes, you're right. We did talk about that. And just to backtrack a little bit to what you said, that when I started teaching in 1980, I think people who would come to yoga were people who were already kind of interested in things of the spirit or enlightenment, or something like that. Maybe they were already vegetarian, got an interest in Indian philosophy. Those were my kind of cohort of people I was in a class with. And now we've done a very good job, or at least B K S Iyengar did a very good job of all the therapy side. In a way, that's kind of spread globally. So people now come with the bad back, bad neck, diabetes, obesity. And that's good, because now it's spreading that way. So teachers have more of a challenge. I do tell the mentees the difference between how it was for me and them, because then I felt like we could, rattle through that syllabus teaching somehow. And people were, I think, younger because of that. They came younger. I was also younger, of course. That does make a difference to who you teach.
Yeah.
But now the Chinese mentees have to be really prepared in that way. So I'm very pleased that with the new system, the more therapeutic aspects have been put in. And I'm sure the Iyengars have realised that when they wanted to do this new system, that now the teachers need to be better prepared at an earlier stage. It's not that we were not prepared, but it was almost that you dealt with it as it came up through the teaching of yoga, rather than now every one of my new teachers that goes out, they're confronted by bad back, high blood pressure, replacement joints even.
Exactly. Yeah.
They will refer to me. So the good thing is we've got nice referral system. But I think, and each level now in the new system goes a bit deeper, doesn't it, with the therapeutic aspects. So, I think that's really good.
Yeah, you think that's an advantage, right? That
Yes, absolutely.
It is more responding to our reality. Did you ever speak with Iyengar, or had a discussion or talk, something like that?
Well, yeah, at some point in my yoga time, it's a very long story, but I had a very severe car accident and I had a big problem with my back, upper back, and my neck, which resulted in a very serious problem in my late 40s. But thanks to B K S Iyengar and the team there, all the teachers there, including all the assistants, I made a full recovery, which is amazing. Again, it's a long story. So yes, I had many dealings and encounters with him, and he's one of his famous sayings, of course, which I know many of the people who've been helped by him quote, which is, of course, one has to have courage and caution. So that's very good because otherwise my diagnosis would have been just to sit in the corner and do nothing or have an operation. But, Iyengar gave me the courage, to go ahead with yoga. And of course, that's what I'd done since I was 15. So I went with that rather than operation. And there was no question, really, I have to say. So I went with yoga, and yes, it helped me, it healed me, and I can never thank the family enough and all the helpers in that medical class, actually. So yes, I had many dealings with him, and he was also very good and helpful to me. Well, I teach sports persons. So he was a big sports fan, you know that, a cricket fan, and he
Yes,
taught
yes.
Sachin Tendulkar, one of his heroes. It's like Iyengar's our hero, and it's like, imagine teaching. Well, I teach Birmingham City Football Club for many years now, and they're my heroes. Apart from obviously Iyengar Yoga, we're all big football fans in my family, and so I've taught the football club a long time, and he gave me lots of help and tips about teaching sports persons, and that's why the Yoga for Sports book, which came out, is amazing. It's all in there. So if anybody who's listening to this thinking, well, what did he say? What did he say? It's in that book, and it's amazing how he also gave all the different positions on sports teams. All can do different ways of yoga. It's incredible. Like the wingers and the strikers in football, they practice differently. They can practice differently. So yeah, very good work. So I did, dealings with him of my own injury, but also then dealing with others, and specifically sports persons. He was very helpful.
Yeah. And congratulations, you managed to now get installed a real Iyengar yoga studio in the football club stadium,
Mhm.
right? Is it already
Yeah, we're
there?
having.
Is it under construction or?
Well, what happens is we've had a very old club, 1875, with
Oh,
an old stadium, and now we've got new owners. So they're building something called the Sports Quarter in
wow.
Birmingham, which
Mhm.
will take a little while, but they will include a yoga studio there. A lot of these, what we call the Premier League football clubs now in England, they're actually having yoga studios in their facilities.
Mhm.
So yes, Birmingham City as well now, maybe with a row ball
Iyengar
as well.
yoga studio.
Yes, exactly. In the sports quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
not
mean,
just the institute, but maybe, in sports facilities too, because
mhm.
it's very much recognised.
Mhm.
The injury prevention is really what we work with footballers. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Okay. Yeah. Well, it makes totally sense, and it's great that we are with Iyengar Yoga there. So having seen all this, changes from the system, of course, changes now in the family that younger generation is taking over. Abhijata is in charge. Prashant is still there. The new certification system. What would you say now is Iyengar Yoga, maybe to an outsider or purely from your own experience or your own definition? How would you say what is
Well,
Iyengar Yoga to you?
Well, yeah, it's one of the questions I always say to my trainees and mentees. I go, imagine you're at a party and someone finds out you do something called Iyengar Yoga. I said, can you describe it? So I say
Exactly.
that to them, and it's interesting. They go, oh, I don't know what I'd say, and one of my business partners, Andrew, you might know, he
Yes.
says, I say Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yeah, really? Yoga is the cessation of fluctuations of consciousness. consciousness. Yeah, he said that. He would go into some big philosophical debate, but that's Andrew.
over a pint.
Those of you that know him. I would say it's something like, it's more body, mind, spirit combined. But, when we say I think it's interesting when we say what is the difference between Iyengar Yoga and all the other yogas.
Yeah.
Again, I have to quote my guru, B K S Iyengar, because when he was asked this question, I think the footage is there somewhere on YouTube. He was interviewed on American TV on a chat show, and the host said to him, can you describe the difference between your system of yoga and the other forms? Now, of course, Guruji is always very gracious.
Very polite.
He said, very gracious. And he said, well, it is like all yoga. It is traditional yoga. He said, but I may have taken it a little further, which I think is wonderful in a way. I may have taken it a little further. And of course, we're all watching that thinking, yes. So I just think, it to me, it encompasses everything. And in every way, he took us further and further into a subject where it's not just asana. We know it's not just asana. So, he may have taken it further. We go a bit further. We go a bit further. And we don't, if we have our students a long time, they experience that going further. It's not just the coming and goings of yoga, like take something away. It's, we go deeper. We go further and further. So,
here's something that came up now to me. Have you students that you have been teaching, at the age of 20, they're still with you?
Yes. A little, I would say a little older than me. I've got two or three of those students that started. They're still in my classes. They've done 45 years. One of them was a school teacher. He's retired now. But they're
more time for yoga.
They were never school teacher. They were never interested in teaching Iyengar Yoga. But these are really, actually, there's more than two or three. There's a few of my original students still come to the Institute. They never give it up. They've never even, in a way, sometimes they never really wanted to aspire in the sense of being a teacher, but they just love it. They just love it. And some have been to Pune. They met Iyengar. But, they went as students, and a lot of them got yoga rooms. They never they never miss class. They've got a practice. So it's not, we always think sometimes people have to become a teacher now, but particularly thinking of John, who I've taught for 45 years, he was already a school teacher. In fact, he taught a lot of people locally. Everybody knows him. So he probably didn't want to be a teacher because he was a very
to keep that for himself. Yes. Because I've realized that with some other teachers that I've been speaking to, that they said that they liked the way how they aged together with their student gracefully, we would say. So you can join that club of senior teachers.
I think I'm still, because I started teaching when I was 20. I think I'm still the youngest of the do you know what I mean? So, but of the people they were 25 in my class, they might have been 30. They're still around,
Yeah. Nice. So, okay. Well, we'll go further and further. It was already like a very good roundup. So maybe what is your personal wish for the future of Iyengar Yoga?
Well, again, I was thinking about this, and I think, we talk about the future, and if I
try to stay in the present very much.
Try and stay in the present. Very important in practice to stay in the present. I think I would just urge the next generation not to forget the past, not to dwell in the past. We have to move on and go with the technology, which is like today. It's amazing, but I think there's so many books. I don't want I wouldn't like people to be stuck on Instagram and just online. All the books we've got, all the recordings, everything that Guruji and Gitaji and Prashant have written, I think we need to study them. What happened was when I started there, we only had light on yoga, That was the book. And then 1979, 80, I think, Light on Pranayama. You get the book, you read it, you study it. Then Gita G's book.
Yeah.
So it came like this.
You had more time
And then
to digest, right?
yeah, and you have the time. Then you're reading those books, you're studying them, you're working on them. Then Astadala Yoga Mala, all those ones came. All the books he's written. You got a chance in a way, and that was the medium how you studied. Nothing online then. So yeah, I've read it all, as many of my generation will have done. We read it all, we studied it all. So I wouldn't like to think that the new teachers kind of go just there with the online learning, that you've just got to, you've got to, because it's honestly, it's just gold dust. It's just amazing. Any of those books you can open and hopefully be inspired as a teacher. It's not that you have to be on Instagram or YouTube to get all those things. I'm not being disparaging or anything like that, but use both, but don't forget the past, because those books are it's just incredible.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was most inspiring, definitely, and hope to see you soon. Very
Thank
soon.
you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and all the best for you.
practice.
Enjoy your anniversary celebrations. And yeah, thanks.
Thanks very much. Thank you.